you there. Thank you for watching and welcome to Forged Alliance Forever. Today I have a 4v4 ladder match on the map NDERA, and it is adaptive, meaning you can have more players, but for this match in this replay we only have 8, a 4v4. So let's go ahead and introduce our players, starting with team 1 in the northeast corner. We have in the rearguard air slot, we have Cascade in purple going first land as a UEF. To his west, we have Zayo going first land. I think I'm pronouncing that right. If you do know how to pronounce it correctly, answer down in the comments. In light blue as a Cybran. In the middle beach land slot thingamajig, we have Celine Undulata going first land as an Aeon in navy blue. And last but not least, for team 1, we have How Bass Tech going first land as a UEF in teal. So we have 2 UEF, an Aeon, and a Cybran, missing the Seraphim Tech in their toolbox. Starting off for team 2 in the southwest section, we have Pika Man going first land in yellow as a Seraphim. To his south in the central slot, we have Control K going first land as a Cybran in crimson. Next to him, we have Denji the Chainsaw going first land second air in red as a UEF. And last but not least, for the rearguard air slot for team 2 in orange, we have Plunder going first land second air. So we have 2 UEF, a Cybran, and a Seraphim. So they are missing the Aeon Tech. So not everyone has access to all of the faction toolbox set ability thingamajigs. But we'll see how that plays out in this match today. It is a 20 by 20. Lots of room, lots of mechs on these little smaller islands. So expect to see a lot of raiding. Expect to see a lot of fighting over these thin strips of land, at least in the center. And then there's a central island here in the middle. There are some civilian structures. We have a radar. We have a couple residential buildings. We have another radar. So just a radar. So no PD, no anti-air, any of that. And there are 5 on each side with a hydro. Again, this is a a ladder match, excuse me, and it is 100%. And even though it's 100%, there are 2 points of rating difference. So very, very, very close. It should be a pretty even game today. Let's go ahead and see what our players are currently up to. We have an early bomber out from the likes of the blue player of Zayo going for the early harass, and we have the comm of Celine Undulata going for this middle island. Maybe they're going to stop. No, the engineer will stop and they will keep going to the central island here in the mid. We have a drop out from the skyhook here, out from Control K, getting an early start on the reclaim, as well as going after these mexes, as well as their comm moving into the central island a little bit farther behind in terms of distance, but not super far to make it a huge difference. We have the first kill of the game against this engineer from the bomber that I mentioned earlier, getting air scouts, getting interceptors, getting a bomber out, getting that early intel, knowing what their enemy is up to. We have another bomber out from their compatriot here in the south. It is a Scorcher from the UEF Tech from How Bass going after some early harass. We do have some interceptors here. Unfortunately, that bomber is not going to get any work done for team 1. The comm of Denji looking to move to the southern eastern island here, getting after these mexes. Looks like we also have a drop to this southern peninsula section here. Well, not peninsula, but southern section of the main landmass for team 1, as well as going to contest this southern portion of the map. Again, lots of ocean, so expect lots of boats, and maybe we'll see some T3 nuke launch capable submarines, or I guess battleships if you're Seraphim. Bomber out from Zayo going after more engineers, as well as pretty much hampering any expansion efforts. Interested to see that these interceptors are not coming to help, but again, looks like more of them were knocked out. Well, looks like we have some combat going on somewhere. I can hear it. Where'd it go? Huh. I heard a comm firing. That was weird. Anyway, so we're getting some land factories up in the central island for both teams, getting that early units out, making sure we don't have any run-bys from either side of this circle. I do find it interesting that's just, this is the deepest part of this map. Well, I guess besides the corners. This is the deepest part of the map. Like, I find it very, an interesting design choice, but it makes the map unique. And especially when you have like a thumbnail version of the map, you see the circle first. Kind of like an eye is kind of the idea that kind of the look that I get from it. We have a transport out securing this northern section of the landmass of Team 2, which should rightfully be theirs. But because the early aggression out from this bomber, they are able to secure it without any issue. We do have a Visha, a transport out with some engineers coming down on this western side of the map. I don't think Zio sees it, so they'll be able to drop. Fortunately, there is a land factory already under construction with another one primed and ready to go. We have some interceptors kind of having some squabbles here. We have Navy starting to be more of a focus. We are at the 6-minute mark. The early infrastructure being already completed. We have T2 mexes for pretty much all players, as well as notification down there, ping on there for some reason. The drop out from the teal player of Bass looking to get some land factories down, but Denji is going to shut that down, and those engineers know it and decide, no, I'm done, I'm going to see you, bye. Interceptor going to get taken out by other interceptors. We have some combat here in this eastern side-ish of the water. Not really a whole lot going to be going down. We do have a Tiger Shark, though, a T1 sub, taking some early damage against these T1 factories. Does look like it's moving in to support its neighbor here in the water. We have the comm of Control K pushing forward, going after that reclaim order to do, I think it's the same amount of damage, but you can automatically reclaim the structure after it's destroyed. So I guess it's more effective in terms of that. But answer down in the comments if it is faster. I think it is, just barely, but I don't know for sure. But I do know an upgraded comm in terms of its damage does do more damage, so I do know that for sure. Again, not a whole lot going down over here, just a push out from Control K, and Celine is trying to force them off, but with the added units from Control K, it looks like they will end up in the water here very soon, especially with that last land factory about to go down. The comm of Zio all the way up to this northwestern section of the map, very far forward. Very interesting to see that, especially because I guess Denji is pretty far forward too, but none of the other comms, not even the comm of Pika Man, moving out to take out this fortification here in the northwest. And that bomber, I think that's the same bomber. Let's see when it comes back into view. It does. Units do fly off the map once in a while, so, and become untargetable. So it's a good thing to keep in mind when you see that happen. It is that same bomber. It has 3 ranks of vet. It actually gets 3 seconds of regen, 3 seconds of it, 3 hit points of regen per second. If you didn't know, every unit can have the ability to regen. It just needs to get veterancy, except for the comms and the SAUs automatically get it at veterancy level 0. Good thing to point out, especially against battleships and the like. I think experimentals do too. We'll see experimentals in this game for sure, so we'll have to check that out. Comm of Control K in the yellow, surprisingly, being forced into this eye pit here in the middle section. And it sounds like there is some salt going down a little bit. He's very upset that 2 naval forces have combined and are starting to harass his main factories. Again, that's just part of the game. If you don't coordinate with your teammates well enough, this might happen. So hopefully the air player or some other player is able to support him in the eastern side of the map. His units being completely overwhelmed. Some units are coming in, but with all of these subs that cannot be targeted by frigates, it's gonna be difficult. And he's just sitting there. So that might be a problem. He might go for the reclaim motor. That'd be an interesting move. He is under the water. And T1 subs will take a while to kill him. So we will have to see. It looks like the comm of Selene moving back, going after some reclaim, and going after some more land factories. But T1 artillery will make a mess of structures, so we'll have to see how that plays out. We have a push out from the northern section of Team 2's landmass from Zio, getting some early, well, I guess early-ish harass done, as well as trying to go for a run by, but it's going to get caught by these T1 forces out from Pika, so they might be able to get some of the units by, but some of them will go down. Wouldn't be surprised to see a bomber or two out from Team 2 to force them off. We're getting an upgrade for Pika Man. It is a speed and range for its gun, so we'll have to, that will definitely be very viable here. Would have liked to see maybe a couple artillery units just to get some better damage on these structures here out from Pika Man. We have a gun speed upgrade going down for Selene in here in the mid. I wouldn't be surprised to see a similar upgrade from Control K, maybe T2, maybe most likely a gun, just to help reinforce his position. A bunch of engineers being spammed out for go for reclaim, as well as, I guess, just providing a deadly force of reclaim orders. They are going for reclaim. They could have gone for those Auroras, but the APM on Control K focusing on other things. We have more of a Navy buildup here for Bass Tech. Looks like he's getting some relief from some T2 torpedo bombers, so good to see. Actually, those are his, to be fair. Good to see tech being used, as well as ASFs out for Team 1, so T3 air has been achieved, sub 12 minutes as well for the likes of Plunder. So both teams, both air slots have T2 tech, T3 tech, excuse me. We have T2 air online for, I think that's the dark blue color, yeah. So online for Selene, getting those gunships out, very good unit. Take out T1 units, especially if it's spam. Again, ASF's moving and then being transferred over to Denji, looking like he can use those more effectively. Again, really good to share units between teammates, especially units that are being focused in one particular area. We do have a drop out here from the red player of Denji going after these power generators. Would like to see him move in just a little bit. Maybe go after a hydro, or maybe even try to get all the way to this fusion reactor, but gunship being built is not going to help them out in any case, and that's going to wrap up the rest of that drop. They're not going to get, maybe they'll get a couple more T1 gens, but that's it. It's not going to be a whole lot. Navy still kind of being an annoyance for Team 2 here on the eastern side. Looks like they're starting to make progress in holding them off and pushing them back, but we do have T1 forces in terms of Navy out from 2 players here on the northwestern side, out from Pika Man, as well out from Control K. That area of the map pretty much under control of Team 2. Looks like the common Pika Man did move forward and take out most of the infrastructure and forces here. There is still a T1 factory, a couple T1 factories, and a radar in position. So kind of a loss for Team 2 here, just leaving that here, letting it constantly produce units that'll constantly harass infrastructure that doesn't even need to be there. T2 Navy has been achieved, getting a Salem class out on the field, as well as for Denji going for, I think those are the destroyers. I don't remember the name off the top of my head, but we'll see it in a minute. Actually, the Valiant class, there's already one built. T2 alive and well for Team 1. We have one T2 installation out from Selene, and we have another one out from the Cybern player of Zio. So T2 Navy for 2 of the 3 players for Team 1, and 2 T2 Navies achieved for Team 2. So pretty on par in terms of technology. I wouldn't be surprised to see T2 Navy appear for the Cybern player of Pika, but we'll just have to wait a couple more minutes. He has been dealing with other things over here to distract him. which is good. You want to keep your opponent constantly distracted. It does look like there was a drive-by out here in the north. We have some torpedo bombers dealing with the rest of these T1 Trident class frigates, but it looks like they did take out one mass extractor, so not a complete waste, but not really a good use of forces, I would say. We have a T2 Salem class moving forward here to start push back Team 1 on this Team 2 on this northern side. And Team 1 has pushed back Team 2 all the way back to this central water section. Don't know what to call those because it's all water. Yeah, there's islands everywhere, but this is like what is this, a lake? It's not a lake because it's not completely enclosed. It's not a river because it's not really flowing. And it's not a sea because it's not that big. I mean, it could be, but it's not definitely not an ocean. So answer down in the comments what this water chasm valley thingamajig is. I don't know what it is. I know this is like a pond. And to be fair, we do call the two major water sections, I guess the only two water sections in sentence ponds. At least that's what Guile calls them. So, answer down in the comments what you think this water thing should be called. I don't know. Let's get back to the action here. It looks like they're focusing more. Again, more production being ramped up. They need more forces to help push back Team 1, especially on this northern side, where the tech is starting to play a big role. Having those hit points, having that damage, does make a huge difference. We have the Comma Celine out of the water, taking out all of the auxiliary structures out here on this central island owned by Control K. Would be interesting to see what ends up happening. We do have a force of T1 just pretty much as a vanguard hanging out, making sure there isn't just a walk around. The comm could go the other way, especially due to the fact that his team does own pretty much this northwestern side of this island. So he or she would be pretty protected there on that side and be able to retreat if needed. Team 1 being pushed back. We do have a cruiser out, so getting that anti-air up, very important. Cruiser out from Team 2 as well. Again, ASF starting to be built up more and more. We have a RAS upgrade in the black for Plunder and more resourcing options. Let's take a look at ecos really quick while we have not a whole lot going on. We have 465-ish for Team 1 and 390. So about I'd say 70 to 100 with fluctuating reclaim. That is going to start making a difference, especially when you see the totals with about 25,000 roughly. That, if that continues, that's going to be very bad for Team 2. Not enough mass, not enough stuff being thrown at the other team. Kind of ends badly. These anti-air ships, these cruisers, able to take out most of the torpedo bombers before they become a threat to the main force down here. Very good. The shield boats are being used very effectively. Would like to see at least another one just to offset the one that is down, but that shield's going to come online very quickly and cover these units, giving some more hit points to them. I mean, they're temporary hit points in the terms of a shield, but hit points nonetheless. Let's move that out of the way. I do apologize. Sometimes these sidebars are activated and sometimes they're not, and it's very annoying. So I do apologize if that gets in the way of those looking at the minimap. I am trying to do better at making sure that everyone can see that, and there's not a whole lot of clutter in terms of the screen. So again, you see something I should improve on, or you see like, hey, you should work on this or that, or make sure you point out, comm death or something. Again, any criticism, I encourage it. It helps me become a better caster, me become a better YouTuber, me become a better person in general. So again, do not be afraid. I will not make fun of anybody for any comment. No question is stupid, or criticism or anything. If you feel like I'm missing something or I'm not, please say it down in the comments and I will take a look at it and try to do my best to improve on it. Again, more torpedo bombers being used. We'd like to see them used in conjunction with the Navy, because yeah, they'll get some damage on one of the ships, but they only get one pass. So, I mean, these cruisers are very effective at anti-air. You need large numbers, like enough numbers as the ASF to really make a huge difference. a couple torpedo bombers are not going to make the difference, sadly. Another shield boat out. Good to see that, getting some more protection on this Navy. We have T1 leading the charge behind with Team T2 in the back line. Very good to see that, using these as bullet sponges, meat shields. See, this is a better complement of torpedo bombers, except they're not going for the cruisers. If the cruisers are left alive, they will take out the torpedo bombers faster, instead of just, you know, because it's pretty much free damage at this point. It's like, yeah, they're dealing damage to the boats, but you could have even more damage had you taken out these first. And if you've noticed, their opponent, Denji, isn't focusing on cruiser production. They're focusing, I think, on technology, and they're getting a battle. Why is that battle cruiser inside of the factory? That's really weird. Anyway, again, you could take out the cruisers. Yeah, you might lose some more ships in the main fleet, but you'd at least take out the anti-air, and then you could just use torpedo bombers en masse without a huge concern. Maybe draw out the ASF and then kill the ASFs for the other players, and then you have air control. So, I mean, one thing could lead to another. You just need a little bit of planning. So that's what I would recommend for Team 1 right now, is focus on the anti-air, then focus on the main ships. Unless there's like so much anti-air where only one pass is going to do anything, then go for like a battleship or go for an experimental or something. If you know you'll only get it one pass, then go for something big. But if you know you're going to get at least a couple passes, go for those cruisers. We have some posturing up here in the north section. We have some shots being traded back and forth. A lone torpedo bomber in play, but we do have one cruiser, so that's not going to last very long. I think it gets off 2 torpedoes off, so that might almost kill that frigate. So, I mean, not that bad. Doesn't lose the bomber. Shelling going down from these missiles, from these cruisers on these land targets. Again, these governors, very effective. One of the best, if not the best, anti-air unit, at least at the T2 stage for all of the factions. See, again, another run of torpedo bombers. Yeah, they're going off a destroyer. Yeah, they're doing damage. But these cruisers, yeah, they're out of position a little bit, which was a good move. But there's not going to be a whole lot of work done. That could have easily killed one of the cruisers, and that other pass before could have killed the other one. And then there you go. You're good to go. And you drew out some ASF, see? You gotta draw and then the ASF move to maybe get something done, and then nothing gets done. But a huge wave. So many torpedo bombers this match. So many. Communication going down saying give... I guess he's talking about the radar installation, because he has more energy, maybe. And there's another one up here too. So intel, very important for Team 2. You can see the range that they got. Not a whole lot, but it does make a difference. You get to see pretty much everything in this section. Switch back to observer there. We have a T3 battlecruiser. We saw that a second ago being built. Very effective against T1 and T2. This would be the point where focusing on one target and only one target with only one pass would be effective. Taking out this battlecruiser, you could send the rest of the Navy and take out the rest of it. You do have enough here if you take out the battlecruiser. These shield boats definitely going to pose a problem for this Cybrant and Aeon army. Are there some UEF in there? No. No. Yeah, there's some UEF. So you have all three factions kind of here in the water, but you can see these direct fire lasers, very effective, hardly ever miss. You've seen them in cast before if you've watched my channel, and I've made a point of these ships are very effective from the UEF. Very, very effective at T1 and T2. Just not a lot of miss because they don't have simulated projectiles. Again, direct fire. Look at that, just chomping at the bit at all of these destroyers. And another one is out, so that's going to be a formidable force down here in the southern section. The northern section, on the other hand, bombers on both sides. We have another possible run by on the cards, kind of, sort of, but I mean, with all these bombers, it's going to mean nothing. Maybe a T2, maybe a radar, maybe. See, what else do we have going on? We have a lone T2 gunship hanging out, taking out some engineers. It's not going to last very long. Unfortunate for that gunship. Let's see, what else? Anything in the back line? Any juicy things going on? It is 24 minutes. You're not going to see a whole lot of, like, you know, of course, game enders or anything like that as of right now. You should start planning at about this stage what you should do. But, I mean, you could even wait till probably the 30-minute mark. Yeah, I don't see any SMDs starting to be constructed. I don't see maybe even a nuke launcher kind of planned out. But we'll see. We'll have to check. Like, that's so many. That's so many torpedo bombers. How many? 71. That's not 100. That's a lot, though. That's a lot. Are they going for... You going for the anti-air? Because I would definitely do that now. Yep, they're going for the cruisers, it looks like. That, again, good move. Take out the anti-air. Going after the shield boats as well. That's a good move as well. Lots of cruisers. You have ASF over to guard the torpedo bombers. Very effective. Go after the cruisers. Go after the cruisers. Come on. A lot of them are dying, though, so it's good to see them prioritizing the anti-air. And then my next target after that would be these battle cruisers. You're focusing them, which is good. Just take out the rest of the cruisers first. Just the rest of them. Come on, you only got 2 more. You got a shield boat. That's not a shield boat. That's a shield boat. Another one. Another destroyer goes down. I think that was a destroyer. But I mean, like, look. They are doing damage. They are being effective. But they're losing a lot. They had 71. And they're down to 25. They've lost more than half. And then the ASF come in and just pick apart the rest of the ASF. Very bad engage. Was able to take out, I'd say, a dozen or so. More cruisers being deployed. Denji making it a point to say, no more torpedo bombers. It's not going to work. More come in. This is just some damage, but no real work getting down. Almost a mass dump if you view it like that. Yep. You could have waited, built them up, given them over to Cascade, and then he could have macromanaged them even more. More and more being built up here on this eastern shore. Team 1 pushing into this central pond. We do have a T3 sonar, so long range sonar being used, and they are mobile. Just that is the thing you got to remember. I forget sometimes that they're mobile. We have a T3 battleship, a Galaxy class online, as well as an Omen class. So Team 1 focusing more and more on that T3 stage. Massive damage, massive amounts of hit points. It looks like Pika pretty much has control over this western side. Oh, there is a Galaxy out from Control K, by the way. Control K kind of splitting his forces between both ponds, or both sections. That's very effective, helping out both of your players, not focusing on one side. He sent the bulk of his T1 and T2 and sent his T3 out over here. Probably looking to shell some of these T2 forces, just lining up. Gonna say hi, and they're gonna see that and go, we should probably move, which they are currently doing. Engineers on a line going for mass, I'm assuming, and then he gives over his units to Control K, to Denji to micromanage even better. So again, focusing your APM, focusing down on having one player focus, let's say, the Eastern Navy and the Western Navy, and have one player focus on air. Like, delegating all of that and not having everybody's hand in all of the pies is very effective in terms of control, in terms of management of units effectively. Ras going down for Zayo, getting some more resourcing options on his comm, looking to boost his eco up a little more. We do have an engage here in the southeastern section. This Omen class being pretty much bullied by these T1 frigates. And all of that Navy out from Team 1 is pretty much all but destroyed, but the wave or torpedo bombers come in and start dealing massive amounts of damage to these frigates. We'd like to see these cruisers pushed up, which they are currently being. Probably like to see them probably like right here. But we have 3 battle cruisers online, pretty much sweeping up all of the remaining excess enemy forces and structures. Again, more and more torpedo bombers being used. The ASF game looks like it's pretty much in the hands of Cascade. Is 130 versus Plunder's 100, so not completely behind for Team 2, but that differential will get worse as time goes on. Looks like Bastek is going to go hide in this little corner over here. Not actually a bad move. I wouldn't actually look there unless I saw a flyback going over here. We have some T1 bombers trying to do something. I don't know what they're trying to do. Another battleship online. I think this battleship is gonna go down to these battle cruisers. These torpedo bombers going in. They are splitting, going after multiple targets. These governors in position to take them out after their first run. These cruisers pull back due to the oncoming waves of torpedoes. A lot of these cruisers, they shouldn't be that much afraid to deal a lot of damage. These torpedo bombers do retreat. I'd say that's a bad move. You've already engaged. You've lost half of your air force. You might as well just engage from there. Ooh, that's a bad turn out from Plunder. And Cascade gets a decent amount of damage onto those ASFs. He takes some from those cruisers, but again, not a whole lot considering the damage he dealt to his opponent in the air. We have ASF's T3 air completed for Bastek. And more torpedo bombers being used. You might as well call this the torpedo bomber match or something, because just so many of them are being used this game. And only on this side. I mean, yeah, we have a few over here on this western side, but so many on this eastern side. Boy. T2 destroyers moving into the middle of T1, Team 2. I cannot talk today. I do apologize. Team 2's front line, pushing them back. 3 galaxies in support. Pretty much they've had some opposition, but not a whole lot. Not like it is over here. So you pretty much have this seesaw of one team goes this way, one team goes this way, and it just depends on how much damage you can get done on either side. So you got to be aware of where you're going to take that loss, where you're going to take that victory, and how much is that going to cost or get you later on. We are seeing players being pretty much locked out of the water game of the Navy. Pretty much Pika has lost all of their factories, and Bastek has lost all of their factories. It would be a cheeky play to put a couple factories down here, considering it's just literally all engineers going for reclaim. Team 1 communicating with each other, making a comment to build T2 already here to prevent the Cybran destroyers of Team 2, which I don't even think they have any, so I don't know why that's a big concern. I guess the T2 artillery could reach, but again, even more torpedo bombers. How many more is this? 60, 69, nice, 73, just so many. We haven't reached 100 build-up yet, but I wouldn't be surprised if we get pretty close. Again, you can see this mirror of Team 1 and Team 2's side of the map, map. It looks like, as of right now, Team 2 is being dealt the more serious blow. Team 1's base is kind of being held by duct tape and super glue and WD-40, but it's staying whole, just constantly flooding in these torpedo bombers. The air player of Team 2, Plunder, is not doing a whole lot to support his western side. He's just moving his ASF over here. And the fact is that that's going to probably hurt later on, because now they're going after the factories of Control K, and that's going to be a problem for this eastern side as well. I mean, there's not a whole lot going on. Yeah, you can even see Control K moving forces out to help support. But you have a couple battleships in tow. Actually, you have 3. There's just 2 of them are stacked on top of one another. You know, you have the ASF over here kind of hanging out. Looks like Plunder gave his ASFs to Denji, and Denji's going to just engage that fight. There are cruisers in the mix down here. It's going to be a little bit close. The turns are definitely better for Cascade. A lot of those ASFs do go down for Denji, and Team 1 now has air control and have a really good argument for naval control for the most part, at least on this, obviously on this western side, but this eastern side, I made a comment a few matches ago, or casts ago, that you have kind of the main front and like the distraction front. And this is the distraction front for Team 1, and this is the main front, while Team 2, this is just hold as much as you can and push as much as you can over here. So, again, it just goes down to what do you risk and what do you potentially gain. And in this case, Team 1 gained a whole lot of destruction, and Team 2 gained not a whole lot, honestly. Yeah, they took out Bass's production line in terms of Navy, but he could have put those back there. He could actually just build those right now and get back in the naval game. But he's not. He is getting a T3 upgrade, though, so maybe building something else? I don't know. More cruisers being produced all the time. These ASF constantly getting hit, taking out all of these torpedo bombers. I mean, when you focus air and you don't do much of anything else, you do the same thing over and over and over and over again. Eventually, the enemy is going to say, okay, no, we're kind of sick of that, and is going to devote more resources into stopping you use that same tactic. So you got to switch it up once in a while. Yeah, torpedo bombers really effective. You could have easily, at this point, maybe got some T3 strap bombers, gone around in the back end and start taking out mass points, because eliminating the enemy's mass means less mass for them to use, which means less units that they have, which means easier it is on all of your main fronts to push that line backward, or I guess forward. I guess would be in the direction that you're moving. So yeah, forward, or push their line backward, I guess would be the way to phrase it that way. It is almost 35 minutes. Do we have anything spicy going down for Team 2? I mean, we got mass fab farms going down. We have a SMD, very centrally placed, very effective. Probably a little further back would be better, because if you get battleships here or even cruisers, it's just end game for that thing. Nothing over here for Denji. We have another SMD very far forward, probably in the back line would have been better, but it is protecting his main factory, so not a bad placement, to be honest, when you're thinking in that term. We have power generators. I don't see anything going down here for Pika. Again, that line on the eastern side being pushed back while this western side is being pushed forward for Team 2. More Galaxy class underway. Producing them pretty quickly, considering. We have a nuke launcher. See, there's that spicy place starting to happen. Out from Zio, getting about halfway done with the missile. The silo is constructed. It's just the missile inside that needs to be built. More mass being devoted to these air grids. They are segmenting out the air grids, which is very good. Don't want one just giant cascade explosion. Ha! Ha, get the name. Ha. And segmenting out, very effective. Again, going for mass fab farms as well. Getting more and more mass available to them. I don't see anything over here. There is a Novak Center planned. That is a good play. It is a cheap experimental. So we'll have to check back on that a little later. That naval push, again, making more and more headway for Team 1 in the southern section of the map. Cascade has almost 100 torpedo bombers. Let's see if I scroll out. Will I see 100? Ew, I see 130. 130. I guess 129, but 130 torpedo bombers. That is so many. So many torpedo bombers. Gonna just take out anything and everything in the water. We see pretty much Control K having a lot of the control in the Navy game for Team 2, while on the northern side we kind of have a split. I mean, it's kind of favoring Celine, the Aeon player, but there is a decent amount of presence here for Zio, and Bass is pretty much just kind of given up. At least in the naval game, he is going for some torpedo bomber spam, which again isn't that bad, but he could be a little more. He could go for strat bombers, maybe. Again, neither player doing strat bombers. Those would be very effective and distract the enemy very heavily. Like, we have the benefit of having full vision, knowing where everything is at all times, but like when you notice when your enemy's ASFs are all in one area, you would think that they would, you know, you would try to offer some distraction. Oh, that T3 HQ has gone down for Denji, so no more T3 units for him in the water game. His comm just hanging out underneath the water. These torpedo bombers could kill him if they primaried him. So, but they probably don't even know that he's there, to be honest. Well, one underwater naval unit probably tells you something. And that is the sound, the all famous strategic launch sound, going for the yellow player's base of Pika. That is going to land. I don't see any SMD on that trajectory, and that is going to be a successful nuke landed. Last game I casted, I released yesterday. I think there were 6 in total, maybe 6 or 7, one of which was a Yolana Os. Very beautiful explosion. Again, my favorite nuke explosion in all the game. Is that going to get Pika? It's going to be close. It does disable his comm, deals a little bit of damage, but does not kill him, so he got out just in time. Very lucky for him. That SMD does not get loaded, unfortunately. He did move it further back, which is effective, but it wasn't loaded in time, and close only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades, so that must suck for, and must feel bad for Pika. We do have some more push going out in the northern section, though. These Yasaus, these T3 torpedo hunters, very effective submarine hunters, very effective, very weak though, so you gotta micromanage them a little more. They have long range though. Looks like we have missiles coming in from these cruisers. They do have onboard tactical missile defense on these Galaxy class, but doesn't matter how many you have. At some point, it's gonna break and it's gonna pierce through that defense line and destroy everything pretty much. So you just got to be aware. That's why it's hard to micromanage Navy sometimes on both ends, because it's like on one end you just want to sit there and just have everything fire. On the other end, you like want to move so that shots are missed. So it is difficult at times. But again, we see Pika not giving up, going into the Navy game, helping out this northern section, while their mirror Bastek is building an experimental, building a satellite. It's almost half done, but not really helping out in the naval game. We do see some amphibious tanks rolling around, but not a huge push. Again, more torpedo bombers. I literally should call the match Torpedo Bomber Heaven. Just, there are so many of them. It's insane. We have 1, 2, 7 battleships here in this, pretty much the heart of Team 2's base. We do have some shields protecting them as well. Very good. See that sharing of technology, helping give more hit points to these Galaxy class. They don't see any cruisers in here, which is kind of disappointing. These shields are hanging out. They should be pushed forward more. We'll be able to stave off more of these bombers. In the north, it's kind of a stalemate. It's kind of a little back and forth, but again, not a whole lot going on. More forces being diverted that way. A couple of Omen class moving into support. Looks like a decent amount of the battleships are still alive. I think though the 2 of them are down for Team 2. Looks like 2 of them are down for Team 1. I guess 3. Maybe that's a 4th one? I don't know. Let's check the mass. Yeah, those are battleships for sure. So there is combat going down here, but again, it's kind of stale. We had that one push out for Team 1. Team 2 pushed back, and it's kind of just stuck right here. Kind of how this eastern side was for a while until Team 1 just pushed on through. And again, if you've made it to the video so far, 41 minutes, 25 seconds, I appreciate the eyeballs, appreciate the time, the attention. I really do. I've loved doing these casts so far and will continue doing so. I find it very entertaining for me, and I learn a lot about the game, a lot how players think, because I again see everything and have to comment on it pretty much throughout the entire video. And if you've been enjoying my cast and the gameplay so far, please like and comment down below. And of course, if you haven't subscribed already, I greatly appreciate it. As of right now, I'm only 21 away from 100, and when I reach 100 subscribers, I'll release another one of those posts asking for everyone to submit a map that they would like to see a game casted on, or if I get enough people saying it, a specific type of cast. So like very low rated, very high rated, maybe like a high rated versus a low rated, kind of like a 2v6, kind of like 2 high rated players and 6 low rated players kind of thing. Like, submit your ideas, submit your requests, I'll take a look at them. Whichever one wins, I'll release a video on, and if I see a idea that's really cool, I'll probably do that as well. Not that one, obviously, after the one that does win that little post that I do. So again, all of your support, all the comments, all the participation in the YouTube page, I appreciate it so much. And again, let's get back into the cast here. We have a drop down, some engineers going for a shield generator, maybe looking to get some, I think these are tactical missile launchers. No, those are T2PD. So trying to secure the southern section of Team 2's base. I wouldn't be surprised to see some gunships on the way, which, speak of the devil, a bunch of them have been produced and starting to stave off the rest of these T2 tanks. Looks like they just climbed like all the way over these mountains. They are amphibious, so they have those hover capabilities. So very good use of tech and faction capabilities there for Team 1. Large swath of torpedo bombers. I swear, I'm just gonna call like the title and the thumbnail is gonna be Torpedo Bomber Heaven or something, because there's just so many this map. So many. I highly doubt anybody would do this, but I would like to see how many of them were either produced or destroyed, because it's roughly the same number by the end of the game, because it must be like close to 1,000, if not more than that. We have a experimental built for the likes of Bastek. That satellite is now online. It's deploying its little laser and is moving into position to wreak havoc on Team 2. Again, 44 minutes, no one has died. We haven't really had any close call. Like, we've had one close call with that nuke deployed onto Pika, but besides that, hardly any risk to the comms, which is kind of rare, but it is a ladder match, to be fair. So we're dealing with decently high rated players from pretty much a 2400 all the way down to a 1200, and it's pretty close to being like 100%, at least in terms of the rating, and it's rated at 100%. So I mean, it's a very good match so far, and it's very not boring in terms of action, because there's a lot of back and forth, there's a lot of ground gained and then lost. There haven't been a super big play. There's been one nuke and one experimental at 45 minutes. Never mind, 2 nukes and 1 experimental by 45 minutes. Excuse me, while I have that caster curse where I say something and then it ends up being not true because I just jinxed it. That nuke looks like it's going to land in the middle of the Navy, especially in the middle of all of these battleships. Very good placement. Unfortunately, I think either Control K knows of the nuke or just guessed where it was going to land. We do have a T3 factory here as well. A lot of these engineers will probably be in the blast radius. Let's see what it ends up killing. Nope. It was kind of close, but not that far. I saw some cruisers go down, some T1 frigates, but pretty much all of the battleships are online. 2 of them heavily damaged. Not the best nuke placement, honestly. I probably would have gone for... honestly, I mean, maybe tried to go for like an edge nuke onto these factories, but... Ooh, what is this? We have 2 interesting things going on. We have a Scathus, and we have a laser going down for Control K. Is he going to do telemaser? I'm interested to see that. Do we have any correspondence here on the northern section? SMD, that new launcher we saw earlier. I don't see any crazy developments going on in the northern section. Another Novax under constructed, but I don't... Am I missing something? Because I would think at 45 minutes oh, okay. Well, never mind. I, again, almost jinxed myself again. Maver has been scheduled for deployment onto the battlefield. These things, man, the last cast I did with 2 Mavers, a Scathus, and a Yolana Os, man, that was a lot of firepower on one team. That was so much. Team 2 did not stand a chance in that match. It just, towards the end, it just really didn't. That Scathis is over half done, so if that finishes, that might be devastating for Team 1 and might flip the game in Team 2's favor. Because right now, yeah, they're about even in terms of map control, but for mass generation and mass totals, I mean, 800 mass every tick, oh, that's a lot of mass. And that's making a huge difference in the amount of mass generated. 270,000 mass differential between Team 1 and Team 2 in favor of Team 1. So, I mean, that's a lot. That's a Maver. That's any experimental in the game for that amount of mass. We have a lot of mass being sent to Control K to help fund that Maver. Would like to see maybe a RASCOM from somebody to help funnel more of that mass into the coffers of Control K to use. I'm assuming he's running on empty. Yeah, he's running on empty. What about Plunder? Plunder has a little bit, not a whole lot. Denji has not any at all. And Pika Man has a tiny bit. So again, or just a little bit. Not a whole lot going on for Team 2 in terms of mass bars. Do we have anything for Team 1? A huge mass bar, 31,000 being funneled into that Maver as we speak. Zayo has 16,000 pretty much, and then 10,000, and then nothing pretty much. So, I mean, Team 1 has more of a mass bar, which means they can funnel in resources very quickly. But I guess Zayo is going for a nuke, so I guess that's kind of fair too. It has been loaded. He is not going to fire it as of yet. He might wait. Do they know of that Scathis? They know nothing. They know where the SMD is. A couple SMDs, but they are not aware of that Scathis. Considering it's in the green, so it's 3/4 of the way there. It's kind of not looking great for Team 1. They need more intel. There are strat bombers being built up, maybe gonna go after that SMD. That would be very devastating, getting that nuke launched. Looks like the major portion of ASFs are positioning to block any incoming fire. We have a small band of ASFs over here taking out the gunships. Good job splitting your ASFs up, able to direct them in different locations. More and more and more torpedo bombers. We do have ASFs trying to figure out what's going on for Team 2 with Team 1's ASF. These ambassadors, wait a second. Are they going to move soon? Let's see. ASF's position more over here. If they send out this little flight of torpedo bombers, it might get caught out, so they might want to just send something in to distract and then send in the strat bombers. We'll have to see. There are a decent amount of cruisers in that line of sight. That's if they're going for this one over here. Oh, they did. They just spotted the Scathis, so that might be targeted next. It is almost done, by the way. It's about 90% of the way there. So those strat bombers might have a new target now. It looks like they might go around this section, kind of where these Corsairs went from, kind of like in this direction over here. But again, the ASFs are constantly being micromanaged by Denji, and it's going to be very difficult to get a good solid approach on. We have another experimental built. That's the second laser. Novak's done. How close is that Maver? It is almost half done. Pika Man completes an experimental. We have a nuke launch out from Zayo. He's completed a chicken. I mean, I don't know. I feel like you could have built an ice washer. I mean, chicken, if you can get it to this side of the map, would be effective, but that's a long way to walk. The comm of Pika Man is out of the blast radius. I think it's going... I feel bad because that's the second time he's going to get nuked. We have missiles coming in to take out this power P-gen, but I wouldn't stand next to that P-gen. If it gets destroyed, oh, it's closer. It's closer to him. Let's see if he's in the blast radius. Oh, he was, and he is killed off. The first comm death of the game at 50 minutes. 50 minutes. That's finally. Oh, he had no sound that game. That must be very difficult. No sound in this game, especially when you're playing. Like when you're casting, it's not that big of a deal, unless you're obviously your audience. You want your audience to hear what's going on. But playing the game, oh, that must be terrible. Not hearing the nuke go off, not hearing any of that. That Scathers does finish, opens fire on its first volley. It looks like it's going after, again, that Maver, which is the only sensible place to put it. But looks like there are enough shields to start holding off the initial attacks. The issue with that Scathers, again, a wide berth of attack, not a lot of focused fire like the Maver has. So it is going to take a while for those shields to crack. We have a huge wave of spy planes moving out to get all the intel as possible, to get a nice readout on what Team 1 is doing for Team 2. More shots do land, take out some engineers. Haven't taken out a lot of the infrastructure for the air grid, though. Again, splitting it up like this. Very interesting tactic, as well as Zio putting down hives to help assist that Maver. Very effective use of mass for both players and tech as well. That air grid is still online. That's very surprising. A lot of these buildings are getting very lucky. Like this one's almost dead. This one's like 300 hit points almost dead. Like very close to death. And I would start, if I was Cascade, start building shields outward. Start getting a fan of shields around your entire base. Going after these fusion generators and taking them offline. Very effective. You don't want any volatile explosions. See that? A decent amount of air grid taken out. That air factory taking hits, but a lot of them are paused because they are focusing down that Maver. That Maver is now online. We have the satellites out from Bass focusing fire on these shields. Looks like they're taking out the auxiliary shields over here for this mass. Again, building shields constantly. You also have to make sure you have enough power. Oh, wrong player. He's starting to run out of power reserves, but build more and more shields. Constantly build shields. Don't just be satisfied with just one, because we're talking about a Maver here. That thing is designed to pierce shields and do as much damage to the shields as possible. What it lacks in like this spread ability, it makes up for single fire damage. Putting his comm under a bunch of shields next to a nuke silo, eliminator silo, not the best placement, but a bunch of Team 1 PD, very effective. Especially want to watch out for those tele snipes from the Cybran players. But again, yeah, just more and more shots landing, doing, you know, auxiliary damage to the rest of the air grid. The T3 air HQ does go down. That is a good bag. We have the talking in chat talking about there are satellites on these Scathers. A lot of those shields are starting to fail. Cybran's shields are the worst. Seraphim shields come back online, providing a much needed relief. He is going for the T3 heavy shields. I would like to see some T2 mixed in there just to help with, I mean, they produce faster. We have the mother of all gunships shielding, transports shielding the shots out from this Maver. You just take a look at like the ridiculousness. It's almost like it has a oh, the shields are down. The shields are down. Oh, this is not going to look good. Let's take off the HUD so you get a better view of that. Like, look at that. Look at that. Oh, all those ASFs just go down. Ooh, that's just like a ring. All those I keep calling them gunships. They kind of are gunships. These transports just going down. Just look at all that. Just insane. Just trying to do anything and everything to shield fire coming at that Scathus. And it's still online. It's working fine for now, but eventually that's not going to work. Okay, camera, can we work? Oh, sorry about that. I wanted to get back to normalcy, but I didn't want to. And unfortunately for Team 2, because of the Scathus is wide range like spread ability, which is effective in some cases, it's not very effective at piercing one single target. And as long as they keep building up shields and assisting them, that is not going to break. is that we have another nuke. We have another nuke loaded. Gap of NDERA making comments to dual gap. Just kind of the way that it's being played. But I mean, some people like gap and some people don't, and you know, personal preference and all that. I like casting all sorts of games. I don't like focusing on one particular map. I did focus on Settons a little bit early in some of my casts, but I like Settons. It's a really good map, and there are people that have like played that game to the point where it's like a minuscule amount of details might entail a victory or defeat, which is just that amount of math, that amount of coordination is just insane. Look at all of them. Look at all of those transports just dead. Look at them all dead and gone here. How much mass is just sitting there, I wonder? Just a cool, just 20,000 just hanging out. Ooh, shields, more shields go down. Control K, that is not a good place to put your comm, dude. It really isn't. More and more transports being hovered over that Scathis just to prevent any and all fire from reaching it. But again, as you can see, the shields are starting to buckle more and more. The transports are trying to do their best, but they are starting to lose the Navy game. A lot of these ships are getting in close to the beach, starting to take out the rest of Team 2's factories as well as units. We have T2 forces moving on the land. I think they're going straight in for that Scathis. There aren't any ground forces or PD online to help fend this off. They have the comm, but that's really about it. We do have these transports do have some fire capabilities, some guns on them, but it isn't going to do a whole lot. Scathis starting to take damage. Check back on the other side. Again, a lot of the shields starting to go down, but the core shields are still online and kicking. That was a good clump of shots out from that Scathis though, but shields popping back on to help support. Control K moving out, using his laser to help defend. Does he have the... He does not have the teleporter capabilities. But he's using that laser to help shield any ground units from coming onto land. These Omen class battleships as well as these lasers proving very effective at just hindering any and all chances of just expansion, pretty much. They're kind of hemmed in over in this cove, and it's not looking good for the likes of Team 2. Team 2 is able to get a bunch of battleships in the backline. We have a Tempest and a bunch of battleships in tow, so this may be some economic damage, but not a whole lot of lasting damage will go down on Team 1's side of the map. Shields constantly coming on, and coming offline, regenning, coming back on. But all of this firepower, especially from that Maver, it's gonna pierce it. We have a nuke launch. Nuke launch out from something. Oh, out from the likes of Bostek. He teleported or maybe transported over, and Zio has been defeated. Worthwhile dying for. Oh, looks like he teleported in. He did the telemaser. I do apologize for missing it. Took out the Scathis, which was still online, mind you, and is, those shields are still holding strong for a little bit. Control K does move back. The comm of Bastek is in this corner over here. He does have some anti-air. Hopefully he is teleporting out. Oh, well, I mean, if you miss like Denji Control Ks, I don't know if that was a kill or not. I mean, those torpedoes out from those destroyers might have killed him. I do apologize. There's a lot going on. Shields do go down. Gunships out. And he's getting a lot of fire down on this comm. Dropping into the yellow. Sub 8,000, 7,000, 5,000, 3,000, 2,000. Boom. That comm has been defeated. He was able to get a building nuke out. Almost take out a T3 Mechs. Those shields are still online. Super surprising considering all of the firepower raining down. Denji gets into a transport and transports away. He could easily go for a telemaser. Oh, maybe not on that. That chicken we saw ages ago comes on the land. Does a little bit of economic damage, but not a whole lot. But we get some damage onto these T1 bombers from this energy singularity. That Maver just pumping out shot after shot after shot. Those shields have pretty much finally collapsed. I would assign these RASCOMs to scoop up all of that mass over here for that Scathus and maybe build something else. Teleporter has now been in the clip for Control K. He's at 20% on the way. We do have some walking T2 destroyers out from the Cybran faction out for Team 1. I was going to say Zayu, but he's dead. So at 59 minutes, 20 seconds, it is a 2v2 matchup. We have the highest rated player is dead for both teams. The second highest rated for both teams still alive, with the lowest rated player on Team 2 alive and the third highest or second lowest player for Team 2 with Team 1 alive. A lot of this infrastructure going down. He's at 53, 55%. That is a desync. However, it is very close to the end of the match. Just apologize for that. Looks like everyone is saying the G-Cheese in chat. Celine, Control K's. Bass also says GG in chat. And we can kind of see, folks, how this is going. It's going in one direction. I think Cascade had to leave. Plunder ends up leaving. Yeah, he's like, this is not really working out. And Control K ends up leaving as well, seeing the writing on the wall. Thank you so much for everybody watching. It was barely an epic. It was 1 hour and 5 seconds. Again, it is kind of disappointing at the desync at the very end, but the writing was on the wall. I mean, the comm of Cascade was protected. I don't see the comm of Control K doing a whole lot. There was a bunch of protection out for this Maver. The comm of Celine was underneath the water, surrounded by a decent amount of protection in the water as well. So unfortunately that desync did happen, but again, when it's at the very end of the match, you can kind of tell what direction it's going to lean. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it, and I will see you all in the next one.